My mother-in-law gifted an iPhone 16 Pro Max to all her grandchildren except my daughter because she's not part of the family. Christmas morning, 8 kids unwrapping identical iPhone boxes. My 9-year-old daughter, Grace, watches as her cousins celebrate. "Where's mine, Grandma?" she asks innocently. My mother-in-law, Brenda, smiles coldly. "These are for real family, sweetie. Blood grandchildren only." Grace's face crumbles. 20 relatives go silent. This woman has lived rent-free in my house for 6 months, eating my food, using my utilities. Mom raised Grace since she was 2, I tell Brenda. She is family. Brenda shrugs. My money? My rules. I don't owe stepchildren anything. My wife, Victoria, just stares at her coffee, saying nothing. Grace runs upstairs, crying. I hear her bedroom door slam. The other kids are already setting up their phones, completely oblivious. Brenda's watching with this satisfied smirk. "You really think this is okay?" I asked Victoria quietly. "She's just old-fashioned," Victoria whispers. "Maybe we can talk to her later." That night, after everyone left, I called my lawyer. "She has no tenant rights," he confirmed. "House guests become trespassers when asked to leave. Document everything. The next morning at breakfast, you have 24 hours to pack and go." Brenda laughs, nearly choking on her organic oatmeal. "You can't throw out a poor old woman. I'll call the police. I'll call social services." "Go ahead. This is my house. My name on the deed." Victoria tried defending her. "She's family. She didn't mean to hurt Grace. She's just set in her ways. She meant every single word. Choose right now. Your mother leaves or you both do." Victoria's face went white. "You can't make me choose." Victoria moved to the couch that night, playing victim. "You're destroying our family over a phone." Hour 6. Brenda is already working the phones, calling every relative. He's kicking me out over nothing. I'm documenting everything with my phone, every lie, every manipulation. Hour 12. Brenda's calling distant cousins, spinning sob stories. He's throwing me on the streets. Victoria won't even defend me. The relatives start calling Victoria, pressuring her to fix this. Hour 18. The neighbors show up. Brenda's been telling them I'm financially abusing an elderly woman. "Is everything okay here?" "Mrs. Baker asks nervously. Brenda seems really upset. I show her the security footage from Christmas morning. Brenda deliberately excluding Grace, calling her not real family. Mrs. Baker's face hardens. "That poor sweet baby. Brenda, you should be absolutely ashamed. You don't understand." Brenda protests. "That's not even his real daughter. She's been his daughter for 7 years." Mrs. Baker snaps. Hour 20. Brenda tries emotional blackmail on Victoria. "I raised you alone. Worked 2 jobs. This is how you repay me? You raised her to abandon her own daughter?" I reply calmly. "That's not her daughter," Brenda screams. She calls Victoria Mom. "What more do you need?" Hour 22. Victoria's crying now, caught between loyalty and love. Maybe Mom could apologize to Grace. "It's too late for apologies, Victoria." She showed Grace exactly who she really is. "But she's my mother, and Grace is your daughter. Act like it." Hour 23. Brenda's dragging packed suitcases through the house, making as much noise as possible. She's crying to anyone who will listen about her heartless son-in-law. The relatives who witnessed Christmas morning aren't buying her victim act anymore. Grace comes downstairs. Behind her is Victoria's sister Janet, who showed up unannounced. "Tell them what you just told me, Grace." Janet's face is stone cold. Brenda backs up. "Janet, this doesn't concern you. She told me everything, not just about Christmas, about the bruises." The room goes silent. "What bruises?" I ask. Grace lifts her sleeve slowly. Finger-shaped marks, faded but visible. "Grandma said if I ever told anyone, she'd make sure Mom chose her over me." Victoria's standing now, face white. "Mom, what did you do?" Brenda points at Grace, her hand shaking. "She's lying. She's always been a manipulative little..." Janet cuts her off with something that makes even Brenda stumble backward. "I found this in your suitcase." Janet holds up a small leather journal, the kind with a lock on it. "Want to tell everyone what's written inside? Or should I?" Brenda's face drains of color. "You had no right?" "Page 17, Janet says, flipping it open. "November 3rd. Pinched Grace hard on her arm today when Victoria wasn't looking. She cried. Good. She needs to learn she's not part of this family. These little reminders are working. Soon Victoria will see how difficult this child is and send her back to wherever she came from." The room is completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. "That's not," Brenda starts. "November 8th, Janet continues, her voice getting louder. "Grace asked me to help her with homework. I told her I don't help children who aren't really mine. She looked so hurt. Perfect. The more unwelcome she feels, the sooner this nightmare ends." Victoria reaches for the journal, but Janet holds it away. "There's more. Lots more. Give me that." Brenda lunges forward, but I step between them. Let her finish, I say quietly. Janet doesn't need encouragement. December 1st. Victoria is weakening. She feels guilty every time I point out how Grace doesn't really belong. A few more months and I'll convince her to send the girl back to her deadbeat father. Then Victoria and I can go back to normal. Just the two of us. Like it should be. Victoria grabs the journal from Janet's hands and starts flipping through pages. Her hands are shaking. December 10th, she reads aloud. Bought expensive gifts for the real grandchildren. Nothing for the imposter. Victoria will understand when she sees everyone else's children receiving love. Blood is thicker than water. Grace isn't blood. Victoria, honey. Brenda's voice has changed now. Softer, manipulative. Don't. Victoria's voice cracks. December 15th. Told Grace that Victoria only married him because she was desperate. That Victoria doesn't really love her, just tolerates her. The look on her face was priceless. These children are so easy to break. I look at Grace. She's crying silently, and Janet has her arm around her shoulders. Baby, is any of this true? Victoria asks, looking straight at her mother. Did you write these things? Brenda straightens up, and something shifts in her expression. The fear is gone, replaced by something cold. So what if I did? You know what? You need to hear this. That child needed to learn her place. She's not my granddaughter. She never will be. I've been too polite about it, but honestly, I was doing you a favor trying to show you reality. Victoria drops the journal. A favor? Yes. Brenda's voice is sharp now, no more pretending. You tied yourself to a man with baggage. I tried to warn you before you married him, but you wouldn't listen. So I figured, fine, I'll make the best of it. But I'm not going to pretend some other woman's child is my family. I have standards. Standards? I can barely keep my voice level. You've been abusing a 9-year-old child. Discipline, Brenda snaps. Not abuse. There's a difference. She needed to know where she stands. Janet is already pulling out her phone. I'm calling the police. Go ahead, Brenda says. I haven't done anything illegal. You've been physically hurting my daughter, I say. Prove it. Brenda crosses her arms. Those bruises could be from anything. Kids get bruises all the time. We have your journal, Victoria says quietly. In your own handwriting, admitting you hurt her on purpose. Something flickers across Brenda's face then. Not quite fear, but close. That's just venting. Everyone vents in journals. You can't use private thoughts against me. Actually, Janet says, phone to her ear. Yes, we can. Hello, I need to report child abuse. Brenda tries to grab Janet's phone, but I block her again. Don't touch her. You're all being ridiculous, Brenda hisses. Over a phone and some old-fashioned discipline. You're going to tear this family apart over nothing. Victoria is staring at her mother like she's seeing her for the first time. Nothing? You've been terrorizing my daughter for 6 months. Your daughter? Brenda laughs. She's not your daughter, Victoria. You didn't give birth to her. You're playing house with someone else's leftovers. That's when Victoria slaps her. I've never seen Victoria hit anyone in the 10 years I've known her. The sound echoes through the room. Brenda touches her cheek, eyes wide with shock. You dare! Get out, Victoria says. Her voice is shaking but firm. Get out of my house right now. Victoria. I mean it. The police are coming, but I want you out of my sight before they get here. 2 officers arrive within 15 minutes. One of them is Officer Hayes, someone I recognize from Grace's school career day. What's the situation here? I show him Grace's bruises first. He takes photos with his camera, documents the finger-shaped marks on her arm, and a bruise on her shoulder I didn't even know about. Grace explains quietly how Brenda would pinch her when no one was looking, how she'd grab her arm hard enough to leave marks. And this? Officer Hayes holds up the journal Janet gave him. Brenda sits on the couch, arms crossed, refusing to say anything now. It's her handwriting, Victoria confirms. I've seen her writing my whole life. That's definitely hers. The other officer, whose name tag reads Kimball, flips through the journal. Ma'am, these entries describe deliberate acts of physical harm against a minor. That's assault. She's exaggerating, Brenda finally says. Kids are so dramatic these days. A little pinch here and there is not assault. It's discipline. A little pinch? Officer Hayes shows her the photos on his camera. These bruises suggest more than a little pinch. Brenda's jaw tightens. I want a lawyer. You're not under arrest, Officer Kimball says. Not yet, anyway. But you need to leave this residence immediately. If you refuse, we'll arrest you for trespassing. This is insane, Brenda stands up. You're going to take their word over mine? I'm a 8-year-old woman. I raised my daughter alone. I worked 2 jobs, and this is the thanks I get? Ma'am, you have 1 hour to pack your belongings and leave, Officer Hayes says. If you're still here after that, we'll escort you in handcuffs. Your choice. Brenda looks at Victoria. You're really going to let them do this? I'm your mother. Victoria picks up Grace and holds her close. And she's my daughter. Get out. I've never been prouder of my wife. Janet helps Brenda pack, probably to make sure she actually does it. The whole time, Brenda is muttering under her breath about ungrateful children and how this is all my fault for poisoning Victoria against her. She tries multiple times to guilt-trip Victoria, bringing up every sacrifice she made as a single mother, every time she went without so Victoria could have something. I gave you everything, Brenda says at one point, tears streaming down her face now. Real or fake, I can't tell. I worked myself to the bone for you. I chose you over everything. Every man I ever dated, I gave up because they didn't like that I had a kid. I put my life on hold for you, and I'm grateful for that, Victoria says quietly. She's still holding Grace. But that doesn't give you the right to hurt my child. She's not your child. Brenda practically spits the words. Yes, she is, Victoria says firmly. She's been mine since she was 2 years old. I chose to be her mom, and I'm choosing her now. Officer Kimball checks his watch. 55 minutes, ma'am. Janet comes downstairs with 2 suitcases. That's everything from the guest room. The rest is in the garage. I'll help you load your car, Officer Hayes offers, but it's not really an offer. It's a command disguised as politeness. Brenda walks to the door, then turns back. You'll regret this, Victoria. Both of you. You're throwing away your only family for a man and his bastard child. When you're old and alone, don't come crying to me. I won't be alone, Victoria says. I have my family right here. Officer Kimball escorts Brenda outside. We watch through the window as she loads her car, still crying and yelling, though we can't make out the words anymore. Mrs. Baker from next door is standing in her yard, arms crossed, watching the whole thing. After Brenda drives away, the house feels different, lighter somehow. Officer Hayes hands me a card. Child Protective Services will probably follow up. This is a mandatory report situation. Don't worry though. From what I've seen, you folks are doing everything right. The caseworker will just need to verify that the child is safe now. Thank you, I say. After the officers leave, Victoria takes Grace upstairs. Janet and I sit in the living room, neither of us saying anything for a long moment. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner, Janet finally says. I knew Mom could be difficult, but I didn't realize how bad it was. How'd you find the journal? Grace told me this morning. She said she saw Brenda writing in it late at night, hiding it under her pillow. So when Brenda was in the bathroom, I looked. Janet shakes her head. I read about 3 pages and I knew I had to do something. Thank you, I tell her. Seriously, thank you. That night, after Janet leaves and Grace is asleep, Victoria and I lie in bed staring at the ceiling. I should have protected her, Victoria whispers. I knew Mom was being cold to her, but I told myself it was just her personality. I convinced myself it would get better. You protected her today, I say. That's what matters. Is it, though? Victoria turns to face me, tears streaming down her face. I let my mother hurt our daughter for 6 months. What kind of mom does that? The kind who was manipulated by someone she trusted. I wipe her tears with my thumb. Brenda is really good at what she does. She's had 40+ years of practice on you. That's not an excuse. No, it's not. But it's reality. I pull her close. Grace knows you chose her. That's what she'll remember. The next morning, I take Grace to her pediatrician, Dr. Monroe. She's a kind woman in her 50s who's been Grace's doctor since she was 3. I explain the situation, show her the bruises, and she carefully documents everything, taking her own photos and notes. Grace, honey, Dr. Monroe says gently, did your grandmother hurt you anywhere else? Grace shakes her head, then hesitates. Sometimes she'd pull my hair when Mom wasn't looking, and once she pushed me really hard and I hit my knee on the coffee table. Dr. Monroe examines her knee, finds an old bruise that's mostly healed. I'm going to need to report this to Child Protective Services. Do you know what that means? Grace nods. The officers said someone would come check on me. That's right. They just want to make sure you're safe now. Doctor, Monroe looks at me. This is standard procedure. Given that the abuser is no longer in the home, I don't foresee any issues. They'll likely just do a home visit and interview Grace separately. 2 days later, a CPS caseworker named Miss Liu shows up at our house. She's younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with kind eyes and a calm demeanor that puts Grace at ease pretty quickly. She interviews Victoria and me first, then asks to speak with Grace alone. We wait in the kitchen, and I can hear my heart pounding. Victoria is gripping my hand so tight it hurts. After about 30 minutes, Miss Liu comes back with Grace. Everything looks good here, she says. Grace was very honest about what happened, and it's clear she feels safe now. Since the perpetrator no longer has access to the child, I'm closing this case. Just keep documenting any behavioral changes, and don't hesitate to reach out if Grace needs additional support. Thank you, Victoria breathes out. After Miss Liu leaves, Grace looks at us. Am I in trouble? No, baby. Victoria kneels down. You're not in trouble. You did nothing wrong. But Grandma had to leave because of me. Grandma had to leave because of what Grandma did, I tell her firmly. None of this is your fault. You understand? Grace nods, but I can tell she doesn't fully believe it yet. That afternoon, Victoria's Aunt Carol calls. Brenda is here, she says without preamble. She showed up this morning with her suitcases, begging for a place to stay. What did you tell her? Victoria asks. She has the phone on speaker. I told her no, Aunt Carol says. Janet sent me photos of that journal. Victoria, I am so sorry. I knew your mother could be judgmental, but I never thought she'd hurt a child. Is she still there? No. I told her to find a shelter. She called me every name in the book and left. Aunt Carol pauses. She's telling everyone who'll listen that you abandoned her, that your husband is controlling you, that Grace is manipulating everyone. Just so you know what she's saying. Let her talk, Victoria says quietly. Anyone who believes her over proof doesn't matter anyway. Over the next few weeks, Brenda calls from different numbers. Victoria blocks each one. She leaves voicemails that swing between angry accusations and desperate pleas. You're destroying our family, she says in one. That man has poisoned you against your own mother, she says in another. The last one is different, though. Calmer. I forgive you for betraying me, she says. When you come to your senses, I'll be waiting. Victoria deletes it without finishing. I start noticing Victoria crying alone at night. She thinks I'm asleep, but I hear her in the bathroom. Quiet sobs she tries to muffle. When I ask her about it, she admits she feels guilty. I know I shouldn't, she says. I know she hurt Grace. I know she's toxic, but she's still my mom, you know? She raised me alone. She worked so hard. And now she's out there somewhere, probably in some terrible motel, and it's because of me. It's because of her choices, I remind her gently. She could have apologized. She could have gotten help. She chose to double down instead. I know, Victoria whispers, but it still hurts. Grace's nightmares start around this time. She wakes up screaming that Brenda is coming back, that she's going to take her away. Victoria starts sleeping on the floor in Grace's room, just to help her feel secure. Some nights I join them, the three of us crammed in a 9-year-old's bedroom, but together. Then Brenda calls Victoria from a motel. The number isn't blocked because it's new. Victoria answers before she realizes who it is. Baby, please. Brenda's voice is small, pitiful. I'm staying in this horrible place. The walls are stained. There are cockroaches. I can't afford anything better. Please, can we just talk? Are you going to apologize to Grace? Victoria asks. Silence. That's what I thought, Victoria says. Why should I apologize for trying to teach her proper boundaries? You're the one who... Victoria hangs up. I suggest family counseling. I think we could all use help processing this, I tell Victoria. Especially Grace. Victoria agrees immediately. I'll call tomorrow. I need to fix this. I need to make things right with her. We find a family therapist named Dr. Patel who specializes in family trauma. Our first session is the following week. Grace sits between Victoria and me on a couch that smells like lavender. Dr. Patel has toys and coloring books scattered around the office, making it feel less clinical. Grace, Dr. Patel says gently, can you tell me about your grandma? Grace looks at Victoria, then at me, then down at her hands. She didn't like me. Why do you think that? She told me, Grace says simply. She said I wasn't real family because I'm not Victoria's real daughter. Victoria makes a choked sound. But Victoria is your mom? Dr. Patel asks. Yeah, she's been my mom since I was really little. My birth mom left when I was 2. I don't really remember her. I see. And your grandma said you weren't real family? Grace nods. She said lots of things. She said Victoria only keeps me around to make him happy. She points at me. That Victoria doesn't really want me. That if Victoria loved me, she would stand up to Grandma, but she doesn't, so that means she doesn't really care. Victoria is crying now. Grace, that's not true. I know, Grace says. I know now, but I believed it for a really long time. Dr. Patel hands Victoria a tissue box. Victoria, how are you feeling right now? Like the worst mother in the world, Victoria manages. I should have protected her. I should have seen what was happening. Instead, I was afraid of losing my mom, so I just looked away. I chose avoidance over protecting my own child. Can I ask you something, Victoria? Dr. Patel leans forward. Why was it so hard to stand up to your mother? Victoria is quiet for a long moment. Because I was trained not to. From the time I was a little kid, Mom's rule was law. If I disagreed with her, she'd give me the silent treatment for days. If I did something she didn't like, she'd guilt-trip me about all the sacrifices she made. I learned really early that it was easier just to do what she wanted. So your mother trained you to prioritize her feelings over your own judgment. Yeah, Victoria wipes her eyes. And I let that training hurt my daughter. I knew something was wrong. I knew Grace was becoming withdrawn, that she seemed sadder. But every time I thought about confronting Mom, I'd remember all the times she told me I was ungrateful, all the times she reminded me of everything she'd given up for me, and I'd just freeze. Doctor, Patel nods. That's a trauma response, Victoria. You were conditioned from childhood to see your mother's needs as more important than anything else, including your daughter's safety. Recognizing that is the first step to breaking the pattern. How do I break it? Victoria asks. How do I fix what I've done to Grace? You're already doing it, Doctor, Patel says. You chose Grace. You removed the threat from your home. You're here, in therapy, working on repairing your relationship. Those are huge steps. Victoria turns to Grace. Baby, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you when you tried to tell me something was wrong. I should have protected you from the very beginning. Can you ever forgive me? Grace looks at her for a long moment. Do you really want me? Not just because he wants me, but really, really want me? Oh, sweetheart. Victoria pulls Grace into her lap. I wanted you from the moment I met you. I chose to be your mom. That was my choice. And I will keep choosing you every single day for the rest of my life. Even over Grandma? Especially over Grandma, Victoria says firmly. You are my daughter. End of story. Dr. Patel gives Victoria homework. She has to write a letter to Brenda, setting clear boundaries. Victoria struggles with it for 3 days. I find her at the kitchen table late at night, surrounded by crumpled papers, tears streaking her face. I don't know how to do this, she says. Every time I try to write something firm, I hear her voice in my head telling me I'm ungrateful. Write it anyway, I tell her. Write it for Grace. It takes her 3 more days, but she finally finishes the letter. It's 2 pages long, outlining exactly what Brenda did wrong, how she hurt Grace, and what the consequences are. The final paragraph states clearly that Brenda cannot have contact with the family until she gets therapy, writes a genuine apology to Grace, and proves she understands why what she did was wrong. Victoria mails it with her hands, shaking. Brenda's response arrives a week later. It's 10 pages, front and back, handwritten in Brenda's cramped writing. I watch Victoria's face as she reads it. She goes pale, then red, then pale again. What does it say? I finally ask. Victoria hands me the letter without a word. I start reading. Brenda blames me for everything. She says I poisoned Victoria against her, that I manipulated Victoria into choosing me over her own mother. She claims Grace is a liar who fabricated the bruises for attention, that the journal entries were taken out of context, that she was only trying to help Victoria see reality. She accuses me of financial abuse, of controlling Victoria, of trying to isolate her from her family. There's not a single apology in the entire 10 pages, not one admission of wrongdoing. I want to show this to Dr. Patel, Victoria says quietly. At our next therapy session, Dr. Patel reads the letter carefully. How do you feel about this response, Victoria? Relieved, actually, Victoria says, surprising both me and Dr. Patel, because now I know for sure she's never going to take responsibility, she's never going to change, and I can stop hoping she will. That's a very mature realization, Dr. Patel says. Accepting someone's limitations, even when that someone is a parent, is incredibly difficult. I'm going no contact, Victoria decides. Indefinitely. She can't hurt Grace if she can't reach us. That evening, Victoria sits down with her phone and goes through her contacts. She blocks Brenda on everything: calls, texts, social media. Then she sends an email to extended family members explaining that she's going no contact with her mother and asking them to respect that boundary. Janet calls 10 minutes later. I'm so proud of you, she says. I know that wasn't easy. It was easier than I thought it'd be, Victoria admits. I feel lighter already. Good. Also, you should know, I posted some of Mom's journal entries in the family group chat. 3 of her sisters saw them and have also cut contact with her. What? Victoria sits up straighter. Aunt Carol, Aunt Diane, and Aunt Ruth. They all saw what she wrote about Grace and they were horrified. Aunt Ruth called me crying, asking how she didn't see it. They've all blocked Mom too. After Victoria hangs up, she looks at me with something like wonder. I'm not the only one. No, I tell her. You're not. Grace has a question a few days later. We're making dinner together when she asks, did I do something to make Grandma hate me? I put down the knife I'm using to chop vegetables. No, sweetheart. Absolutely not. Then why? I glance at Victoria, who nods for me to continue. Some people, I say carefully, can't accept love that doesn't look exactly like what they expect. Grandma had an idea in her head about what family should look like, and when reality didn't match that, she couldn't handle it. That's not your fault. That's her problem. But I tried really hard to be good, Grace says, and her voice breaks my heart. I helped with dishes. I got good grades. I never talked back. I know you did. Victoria kneels down beside her. And none of it mattered because the problem was never you. The problem was always her. Do you think she'll ever change? Victoria and I exchange glances. I don't know, Victoria says honestly. But we can't wait around hoping she will. We need to move forward without her. The next week, Victoria enrolls Grace in play therapy with a child psychologist named Dr. Chen. Grace goes once a week and slowly starts opening up about things she never told anyone before. About how Brenda would criticize her artwork when no one was looking, saying it was ugly. How Brenda would hide Grace's favorite toys and pretend she didn't know where they were. How Brenda told her once that Victoria only married me because she was desperate and lonely. She said you didn't really love me, Grace tells Dr. Chen in a session Victoria and I sit in on. She said you just felt sorry for Dad, and that's why you pretended to be my mom. Victoria is gripping my hand so tight I can feel my bones grinding. Grace, that is not true. I love you because you're you. Not because of your dad, not out of pity. I love you because you're my daughter and you have been since the day I met you. Really? Really, really, Victoria promises. Grace's teacher, Miss Wright, calls for a meeting the following week. She's noticed Grace is more withdrawn in class, less participative than usual. Victoria explains what happened, leaving out the most traumatic details but making it clear Grace has been through something difficult. Thank you for telling me, Miss Wright says. I'll keep an eye on her and let you know if I notice any concerning changes. Has she talked to the school counselor? Not yet, but that's a good idea, I say. Grace starts seeing the school counselor twice a week, in addition to her play therapy. Slowly, very slowly, she starts coming back to herself. She laughs more, plays with her friends, draws pictures that aren't tinged with sadness. But then something happens that reminds us we're not out of the woods yet. I'm replacing the locks on all our doors, something I should have done weeks ago. It's mid-afternoon when Mrs. Baker knocks on my door, looking worried. I don't want to alarm you, she says, but I saw someone lurking around your property last night. Around 2 a.m., it looked like a woman. My blood runs cold. Can you describe her? Older woman, gray hair, medium build. She was standing across the street just staring at your house for like 20 minutes. It's Brenda. It has to be. Thank you for telling me, I say. That night, I set up motion sensor lights around our property and install a security camera pointed at the street. Sure enough, 2 nights later, the camera catches Brenda standing under the streetlight staring at our house. She stands there for almost 40 minutes before leaving. I show the footage to Victoria. We need to do something about this. Like what? I don't know. Maybe a restraining order? Then it gets worse. Grace's school calls. Brenda showed up claiming to be picking Grace up early for a doctor's appointment. The office secretary, thank God, didn't just take her word for it. She called Victoria to verify. Absolutely not, Victoria told her. My mother is not authorized to pick up Grace. Ever. Please add her to the do not admit list, and if she shows up again, call the police. The school principal calls me an hour later. We've issued a formal trespass warning to Brenda. She's been added to our banned persons list, and her photo is now with all staff members. If she comes onto school property again, we'll call the police immediately. Thank you, I tell him. I appreciate you taking this seriously. Victoria makes a decision that night. I'm filing for a restraining order. The process is surprisingly straightforward. Victoria fills out forms detailing the abuse, the harassment, the unauthorized school visit. She submits copies of the journal, photos of Grace's bruises, and screenshots of the threatening voicemails. She includes the security footage of Brenda lurking outside our house at night. A week later, we're in court. A judge reviews the evidence, interviews Victoria briefly, and grants a temporary restraining order. Brenda is required to stay 500 feet away from our home, Grace's school, Victoria's workplace, and my workplace. The temporary order is effective immediately, the judge says. We'll have a hearing in 3 weeks for a permanent order. Miss Brenda, you'll be served with papers today. Brenda doesn't show up to the courthouse. The papers are served to her at the motel where she's staying. According to the process server, she screamed at him for 10 minutes before he could even give her the documents. 2 days later, a package arrives at our house. Victoria opens it before I can stop her. Inside is a doll, one of those expensive porcelain ones with real hair and glass eyes. Attached is a note in Brenda's handwriting. For Grace. I forgive her for lying about me. She didn't know any better. She violated the restraining order, Victoria says quietly. I call the police non-emergency line. An officer comes out, takes the package as evidence, photographs the note. I'll go have a word with her, he says. Next violation, she's getting arrested. Officer Hayes, the same one from before, shows up at our door an hour later. Talk to Brenda, he says. gave her a formal warning that any further contact means immediate arrest. She claims she didn't understand the restraining order, but I made it very clear. No more packages, no more calls, no more driving by your house. Do you think she'll stop? Victoria asks. Officer Hayes looks uncomfortable. Honestly, people like this usually escalate before they stop. Keep documenting everything, keep your security system running, and call us immediately if she shows up. A week goes by with no incidents. Then 2 weeks. I start to think maybe Brenda finally got the message. Then Grace asks something that catches us both off guard. Can I change my name? She asks one night at dinner. What do you mean, sweetie? Victoria asks. I want to have Dad's last name, like really officially, so everyone knows he's my real dad. She looks at me. Can I? I feel my throat get tight. Are you sure that's what you want? Yeah, I want everyone to know you're my dad. Not like stepdad or whatever. My dad. Victoria is crying, but she's smiling too. We can look into it, baby. That's a big decision, but if that's what you want, we'll make it happen. The legal process for a name change requires consent from both legal parents, which means we have to track down Grace's biological father, a guy named Trevor who left when Grace was 2 and hasn't been heard from since. It takes a private investigator 3 weeks to find him. He's living in Arizona, remarried with 2 kids. When we send him the paperwork, he signs it and sends it back within a day. There's a note attached. I'm glad she has a real father now. I never wanted kids. Tell her I'm sorry. It's not the apology Grace deserves, but it's closure. 3 months later, we're back in court. Different courthouse this time, for the name change hearing. The judge is an older woman with kind eyes, who asks Grace directly why she wants to change her name. Because he's my real dad, Grace says, pointing at me. And I want everyone to know. The judge smiles. That's a good reason. Motion granted. Grace chooses to hyphenate, using both Victoria's and my last name. When the official documents arrive, she makes us frame them and hang them in her room. But of course, Brenda finds out. A gossiping cousin tells her, and Brenda loses it. She leaves a voicemail on Victoria's phone from yet another number. You let that man erase me from her life? You let him take my grandchild away from me? I'll take you to court. I have grandparent rights. You can't keep me from her. Victoria plays the voicemail for our lawyer, a sharp woman named Miss Johnson who specializes in family law. Miss Johnson laughs. Actually laughs. Grandparent rights? With a restraining order and documented abuse? She has no case whatsoever. Let her try. I'd love to see her explain to a judge why she should have access to a child she physically harmed. So we don't need to worry? I ask. Not even a little bit, Miss Johnson says. But keep that voicemail. We'll need it for the permanent restraining order hearing. Speaking of which, that hearing is next week. Victoria is nervous. Keeps asking what if the judge doesn't grant the permanent order? What if Brenda gets access to Grace again? That's not going to happen, I tell her. We have too much evidence. Victoria's sister Janet gets married a month later. It's a small ceremony, just close family and friends. Janet doesn't invite Brenda, which causes a whole new explosion. Instead, Janet asks Grace to be her flower girl. Grace is thrilled. She helps pick out her dress, practices walking down the aisle. At the wedding, she's perfect, scattering rose petals with careful concentration. Afterwards, she sits with the adults during dinner, eating cake and laughing at Janet's husband's terrible dad jokes. Brenda somehow finds out about the wedding. She sees photos on social media, photos of Grace all dressed up, photos of the whole family together without her. She creates a fake Facebook account and starts messaging Victoria's friends, claiming that Victoria is keeping her from her dying mother's final wishes to see her family one last time. Dying? Victoria shows me the messages. She's not dying. She's never been healthier. Janet discovers the fake account when one of her friends asks her about it. She screenshots everything and reports the account to Facebook. Then she sends a message to Victoria's entire friend list. PSA. My mother is not dying. She's creating fake accounts to manipulate people. If you get messages from anyone claiming to be our family, verify with me or Victoria first. Here's proof. She attaches screenshots of the fake account and Brenda's real account, showing they were created from the same IP address. Most of Victoria's friends immediately block the fake account. A few message Victoria directly to say they're sorry Brenda is harassing her like this. The permanent restraining order hearing arrives. We're sitting in the courtroom, Victoria's hands shaking slightly. Brenda arrives with a lawyer, a tired-looking man in an ill-fitting suit who keeps checking his watch. The judge reviews all the evidence again. The journal, the bruises, the threatening voicemails, the fake social media accounts, the attempt to pick Grace up from school. The package sent in violation of the temporary order. Brenda's lawyer tries to argue that his client is just a concerned grandmother who's been unfairly cut off from her family. The judge cuts him off. Counselor, Your client has documented evidence of physically abusing the child in question. She has a journal detailing her plans to emotionally manipulate both the child and her mother. She violated a temporary restraining order by sending a package to the residence. She attempted to remove the child from school without authorization. She's created fake social media accounts to harass the family. What exactly am I supposed to be sympathetic about here? Brenda's lawyer opens his mouth, then closes it. We request leniency, Your Honor. Denied. I'm granting a permanent restraining order for 5 years, expandable to 10 depending on the subject's behavior. Brenda, you are to stay 500 feet away from this family at all times. This includes their home, workplaces, the child's school, and any place you know they will be. If you violate this order, even once, you will be arrested immediately and face up to 6 months in jail. Do you understand? Brenda stands up. This is insane! That child is ruining my family. Ma'am, sit down, the judge says sharply. No, you don't understand. She's not even real family. She's just some other woman's mistake, and now my daughter is choosing her over me. Over her own mother. It's not fair. Ma'am, if you don't sit down right now, I will hold you in contempt. Brenda's lawyer tries to pull her down, but she shakes him off. That little brat has destroyed everything. Victoria was fine before she came along. We were close. We had a real relationship. And then he brought that child into our lives and poisoned Victoria against me. The judge slams her gavel. That's enough. Bailiff, escort this woman out. Brenda is screaming as the bailiff takes her arm. You're all going to regret this. Grace ruined everything. This is her fault. Tell her this is all her fault. The bailiff physically escorts Brenda out of the courtroom. We can hear her yelling in the hallway until a door closes and cuts off the sound. The judge looks at us, shakes her head. I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never seen anything quite like that. Miss Victoria, I'm so sorry you had to grow up with that. The permanent restraining order is granted, effective immediately. If she contacts you in any way, call the police. Don't engage. Don't respond. Just call. Victoria nods, unable to speak. We walk out of the courthouse into bright afternoon sunlight. Victoria is shaking. I put my arm around her. It's over, I tell her. Is it? Victoria asks. She's never going to stop, is she? The law is on our side now, I remind her. She can't touch Grace. She can't touch us. Victoria takes a deep breath, lets it out slowly. I know. I just wish it didn't have to be like this. I know. We walk to the car in silence. As I'm unlocking the doors, Victoria says quietly, I should have protected Grace from the beginning. None of this would have happened if I'd just stood up to her when it started. Hey, I wait until she looks at me. You protected Grace when it counted. That's what matters. You chose her. You keep choosing her. That's what she'll remember. Victoria nods, but I can see she doesn't quite believe it yet. That's okay. She will eventually. We pick Grace up from school. She runs to the car like always, backpack bouncing. How'd it go? She asks as soon as she's buckled in. The judge gave us a permanent restraining order, Victoria tells her. Grandma can't come near us for 5 years. Good, Grace says firmly. Then, is that bad? That I'm glad? No, baby. Victoria turns around in her seat. It's not bad at all. You're allowed to be glad you're safe. That night, Victoria tucks Grace in like she's done every night for 7 years. But this time, she says something different. Grace, I promise you, I will never let anyone hurt you again. Not my mother, not anyone. You are my daughter, and I will always, always choose you. Okay? Grace nods sleepily. I know, Mom. I love you. I love you too, baby. So much. Victoria comes to bed that night and falls asleep almost immediately, wrapped around me like she's afraid to let go. I lie there in the dark, listening to her breathe, thinking about everything that's happened.